Have you told your friends that you see ghosts?
Oh, absolutely not.
Gina Rodriguez returns in Not Dead Yet.
I'm back, baby.
Who is that?
Oh, she's the obituary writer.
And Brad Garrett joins the brilliant ensemble cast.
Titan, Maverick, Titan of all Mavericks. These are all words used to describe me.
Not Dead Yet. Season premiere. Tonight, 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC. And stream on Hulu.
It's the Happy Families Podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
On today's Happy Families Podcast, we are looking at 5 parenting trends to watch in 2024. I've been scouring the internet, TikTok, spending some time with Kylie, looking at what the trends are going to be, and we've got them for you. The 5 trends to understand what's happening with parenting in 2024. If you want to be on trend, and social media is pushing those trends harder than ever, with TikTok at the front of it. These 5 trends are the ones to watch in 2024. The first one, Kylie.
I digress, but I just want to know, have you ever been on trend?
Oh, come on. Look at me. Look at the way I dress.
Well, I'm just putting it out there. Trend has never been something I've aspired to ever. But I am interested to hear where this conversation goes today.
Okay, trend number 1, according to the trend spotters, is that parents are going to be celebrating small wins this year. Rather than all the big stuff, parents, well, including on top of the big stuff, parents, based on Pinterest research, are all about the mini achievements this year.
So Pinterest released a report for 2024, and it's suggesting that parents won't be waiting for specific days on the calendar anymore to celebrate big occasions.
So I think that you've been on trend for the last 24, 25 years, because this is something that you have always done with our kids. Something cool happens, and it's like, well, let's celebrate it. This is like it's a mini achievement, but we're going to turn it into something. This is something that you just love to do.
Well, Pinterest analysed user intent and reported a huge uptick in searches for things like end-of-school year party ideas, monthly milestone ideas.
Monthly milestones, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby naming ceremonies, potty training reward ideas, and parties to celebrate first teeth.
Okay, we're going to have one of those soon. We've got a grandbaby who's going to have a first tooth soon.
I don't know any mum who celebrates first teeth.
I think we need to do that because we're the grandparents and we can.
I'm already cringing.
We've got to get on trend here.
Remembering those bites.
Yeah. That's great. So that's what Pinterest is saying about it.
In 2024, tiny triumphs will make the heart grow fonder as parents sprinkle party vibes on their kids' not-so-grand moments. Baby's first tooth, here's a cupcake. Potty training success, extra sprinkles, please.
Yeah, okay. What's your reaction to this? What's your reaction to celebrating small wins?
Look, I think it's a really beautiful notion. Like you said, it's something that I have strived to do in our family with each of our kids.
Yeah, you can't really bag it out because you've been doing it for most of our lives.
No, but while I have celebrated, I don't think I have put a huge amount of effort into it. I haven't blown it out of proportion.
Well, that's because we haven't been taking photos and putting them on social media so everyone can see how awesome we are for celebrating the small moments.
But what I love about it is I think too often we are so caught up in the end result.
Right.
And the idea that we might celebrate smaller milestones in our kids' lives offers them grace, us grace, and just an opportunity to find joy in the journey as opposed to reaching a destination
now
before
you're
we get
making
excited.
Me change my mind about what I was going to say. You're saying celebrate because life is meant to be celebrated and life is fun. And now I'm torn because, I mean, you do this stuff so well and you always have, and I'm a really big supporter of what you do there. But I do get concerned when people feel like they have to do it to be on trend, or this is what everyone's doing, and it ups the pressure. Like once upon a time, you had a baby and told everybody what it was going to be, but then the baby gender reveals came in, and there's more and more and more pressure and more stuff that you've got to do, and it just, the social media likes might make it worth it, I know, but the weight and the pressure for some parents, it can be a little bit burdensome, and I don't really like that. However, I mean, cynics might also say, oh, everyone gets a prize, like you've got a big tooth, we don't need to have a party for that. Like, do you know what I mean?
But I think that's the difference. Like, why are you doing what you're doing?
Exactly.
So, social media has never played a big part in our celebrations in any way, shape, or form. It's not something that I have invested in since the beginning.
Yeah.
So when I celebrate with my kids, it's because I want to celebrate them, not because I want to show everybody else how awesome I am.
Well, I don't have a problem with everyone getting a prize anyway, even though the cynics hate it. Teresa Amabile is a researcher at Harvard, and she's developed research around this thing called the progress principle. And I just reckon, research shows it feels good to make progress, and when you make progress and you celebrate it, it feels even more good and it keeps you more motivated. I don't have a problem with this trend. I actually think it's going to be a whole lot of fun if people do it wisely. Second big trend for 2024, according to the experts, is that sharenting is out.
Well, as you can see, I'm already on trend with this one. Sharenting's all about parents sharing all those milestones and so much more on social media.
So I think this is curious because if we've got this trend of celebration of small wins going up, but sharenting is out, it'll be interesting to see whether people are celebrating all those small wins and putting them out there on social media, or if they're just doing it because it's great to do.
So why is sharenting out, though?
2 words, Sam Altman.
Oh, who's he?
Sam Altman is the guy who's behind ChatGPT. And, of course, it's not just ChatGPT. There's a whole lot of other generative AI that's out there.
So are people upset at Sam Altman?
No. Well, potentially, maybe. There's a whole lot of legislation, especially in the US, and Australia will follow suit, as will most of Europe. There is really big concern out there about how AI-generated imagery can be used in unhelpful, unhealthy, dangerous, explicit ways from bad actors. And I'm talking about AI-generated imagery with images of your kids. So in other words, when you put your kids' images online, what that does is it actually puts your kids at risk of having explicit content developed out of the stuff that's online. I've got a quote here from Leah Plunkett. Leah Plunkett is based at Harvard. She's the author of Sharenting, Why We Should Think Before We Talk About Our Kids Online. It's a book, Sharenting, Why We Should Think Before We Talk About Our Kids Online. And she said this recently on the US show News Nation.
If you are a parent watching at home, you should know that existing generative AI tools and emerging ones are remarkably sophisticated at producing realistic images based on photographs of real children. So a simple step that parents, as well as grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, coaches, and other trusted adults can take now is to limit or stop sharenting. Sharenting being a combination of the words share and parent. Most of us don't think much of taking a couple of pictures and putting them on social media or otherwise digitally transmitting them. Now more than ever, it is time for us as adults to protect the kids in our homes and schools and neighborhoods by limiting or stopping putting images of kids that we know and love out on the open internet.
I hear something like that, and obviously in my beautiful
safe world.
I want to say bubble.
Yeah.
It seems so far-fetched that anything I put up is going to create waves or challenges for my children in the future.
That's kind of how I feel as well. But you have a conversation with somebody like John Rouse, who has been at the forefront of combating child exploitation online for such a long time here in Australia. And his basic argument, I was talking to Madonna King about this recently. She wrote the book Saving Our Kids, which is all about this stuff. And she basically said, you can't ever know that your kids aren't being exploited online. I know I used a double negative there, but essentially there's no way of knowing whether your kids are or are not being exploited online. You just don't know, but you can reduce the risk by not putting images up there. In other words, your kids may not actually be being exploited, but their imagery could be. And even that's sickening, right? It's absolutely just awful. And so there's this brand new push into 2024 in terms of trending where sharenting is out because parents are aware that their children's images could be used by bad actors in devastating ways.
So I guess we're going to see more food on the internet?
Less kids and more food. Just pictures of the backs of kids' heads at the birthday party. Okay, parent trend number 3 for 2024. Parental benign neglect is in, baby.
Okay, a few big words there. What are you talking about?
Okay, benign neglect is neglecting your kids, but in a benign way. So, if you have a benign tumour, You've got a tumour there, but it's not cancerous. It's not going to do any damage to you. We're talking here about neglect in a non-damaging way, which kind of seems like a contradiction in terms. But you know what it's like when you know the kids are there, you're just not really paying any attention to them and they're not paying any attention to you. That's what we're talking about with parental.
I think that's been my whole parenting journey.
Right, probably has been. Hey, I found a clip on the Today Show in the United States where Jennifer Garner was talking about this. And when people like Jennifer Garner, global superstar movie stars, are talking about parental benign neglect, you just know it's going to trend. Here's what she said.
I just really enjoy my kids. I don't know. I don't know that I have some overarching philosophy. I just think they're such cool people and I want to hear everything and I want to be around. But I also think it's okay if they suffer from a little bit of benign neglect.
Totally.
Where their lives are their own. I'm not trying to live their life and I don't mind that they see that I love mine.
Is there research on this?
So, first thing I have to say is the whole helicopter parenting thing is a lot more American than it is Australian. Aussie parents tend to be a little bit more benignly neglectful of their kids anyway. Not in a terrible way, but in a really healthy, positive way. And that's quite good. In terms of research, though, I would say, yes, the research is there, and it's called Stop Being a Helicopter Parent. Research shows that when we support our children's autonomy, when we get out of the way of our kids, when we're there to support them, but not to be involved in every aspect of their lives all the time, they tend to thrive. They just do a whole lot better. They just need to know that we're there. So parental benign neglect is in. I wrote about it way back when I wrote my book, 21 Days to a Happier Family, which was like 10 or 12 years ago. And even then, I was highlighting that parental benign neglect is actually a pretty healthy way to be raising our kids. We're there when they need us, but other than that, we stay out of their way.
And it takes a lot of pressure off parents if they just trust in the process of our children's development and growth and giving them the space that they need to kind of work through the challenges as they come.
So we've done a whole lot of prep for this podcast episode. We didn't talk about what you just said, and it's so important. As soon as you said that word trust in development, you reminded me of a really important research paper by Landry and colleagues from around about, I think it was about 2006 or thereabouts, where they're talking about how kids who are most likely to thrive are the ones whose parents do exactly that. And that's the word that they use, trust, or that's the phrase they use, trust in a child's natural development process. That's what we're talking about, and parental benign neglect is more likely to get us there. Let's move on to trend number 4 for 2024. We'll go through the last two nice and quickly. Trend number 4 is this. Gentle parenting is going to continue to be all the rage, and trend spotters reckon that gentle parenting is going to extend to the way we name our kids in 2024.
Well, according to baby name website Nameberry, this calm and sympathetic parenting style is influencing how parents name their kids. They've said this, and I quote, "We're seeing a direct correlation with gentle, soft-sounding names. Parents are favouring names with calm auras and mellow sounds. Vowels feature prominently in these names, along with fluid consonants like C, F, L, and S. Girls' names that end with A are both popular and gentle. Some gentle parenting names to look out for in the new year: Elba, Alice, Faye, Elfie, Una, Willa, and Asa."
Okay.
Love your reaction.
I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I think the trend spotters are stretching on this one. People name their kids' names based on what they like. I don't think gentle parenting trends are going to affect parenting names. I'm pushing back on that one. What do you think?
Well, look, I don't know if it's going to be a trend or not, but it played a significant role in how I named each of our girls.
What, gentle parenting?
Gentle
sounds. Chanel, Abby, Ella, Annie, Lily, Emily. Oh my goodness, I've just poo-pooed exactly what you did.
I really believe there's something in a person's name, and I loved the idea that my children would grow up with
all right, well,
soft personalities.
Maybe it's a thing. I'll give you that. Let's do the last one.
Last one. They're saying thrifting is in, vintage over new. Gen Z parents care more about the environment than older parents, apparently.
Yeah, I found a quote from Rati Levesque, who is the co-CEO and president of The Real Real. It's a top luxury resale marketplace. And this is what Rati said: "A potential recession, the climate crisis, and global unrest are all reasons that going into 2024, consumers are making shopping decisions based on value, with 66% saying they shop resale primarily to get a good deal as well as their personal values. Obviously, shopping resale means buying secondhand. This is on trend. This is on the up. Parents are heading in this direction according to the trend spotters. What do you think? Do you think that that's what's happening?
Oh, I'd love to think that this was what will actually happen, but I don't. Well, I think it's a great idea. I don't think it's something that will really take off in any significant numbers because it takes too much time. The convenience of just going to the shop and picking up what you want and knowing it's going to be there in your size, clean, ready to go.
You're pretty partial to Marketplace, though.
I love Marketplace.
That's the same thing.
Exactly. But it takes time. And so many times I see things that I really like the idea of, but I've got to drive another 20 minutes down the road, and the organising with the person to make sure my timetable works with theirs, and getting it's just tricky. So for the average person, time poor parent
who just wants products now,
it's just not feasible.
Okay.
What do you think?
One word, Shein. Actually, two words. And Temu. Shein and Temu. I have no doubt that buying secondhand, going retro or vintage or thrift or whatever, is definitely rising. There's definitely more interest in it, but it's just too convenient and too cheap. And when you've got these Chinese global behemoths like Shein and Temu, I just don't think that it's actually going to ever be more popular or more sought after than brand new stuff. The Shein juggernaut is just massive. And as much as people say that they care about values and ethics and the environment, price wins every time. And I just don't think that this trend is actually going to stick or be strong enough.
So they're the 5 big trends for 2024. How are we trending so far?
Okay, well, celebrating small wins. I love it. Keeping kids off sharenting. Totally into it. Parental benign neglect. It works for me. Gentle parenting names. Well, we're past that anyway. We've named all of our kids. But for people who are listening who are coming up with names, I think they're going to do whatever they want. As for retro and thrifting, Shein is just too big. My real answer to this, though, is just stay off TikTok. If you don't care about the trends, stay off TikTok. It'll never bother you. Everything will be fine. We so much appreciate that you've been listening to the podcast. Hopefully you've gotten heaps out of it. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rowan from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. For more information about making your family happy and staying with the stuff that is the same as ever, the stuff that doesn't change according to trends, the stuff that just builds strong, solid families, you know where you can find it, happyfamilies.com.au.